Friends, and welcome to Mr. Keneally's desktop. A little change of venue. It's been so nice out that I've just been hanging out in the garage, just changing it up a bit. Um, got a great little start for you today.
This dance.
Little Charleston, get us started. This is made popular in the Roaring '20s. Can I tell you, everybody thought it was great. The 1920s, the stock market was way up. People were making money. People were happy. And you know what? People just thought after World War One, man, we're just going to keep going up and up. Unfortunately, sort of at the end of the 1920s, well, really at the end, 1929, there were some signs, all right? It didn't just all of a sudden happen, but it's a good visual for what happened. Nice. And, the economy just sort of face planted and never recovered. And so in 1929, referred to as Black Tuesday, is when the stock market crashed. Um, in total, billions of dollars were lost, and we're talking 100 years ago. Billions of dollars were lost. Um, and the problem is that in the 1920s is that people were valuing stocks and they were valuing other things too. The price of homes, the price of goods. They were overvalued because people had, really excess income. They had extra income. They were, putting it into the stock market. They were buying, more stuff than they normally would. They were buying bigger and nicer homes, and so what happened is that eventually, people stopped buying stocks at that high price. And when people stopped doing that, those prices started to drop. And then people got worried. And so people started selling their stocks. And so more people got worried. And just the value of those stocks went down and down and down. And with that, why that's important is that that's talking about the value of companies and how much money companies have to operate with. Um, and where that really starts affecting everyday people is with unemployment. When companies have a hard time raising money, they cut back on their workers. Here's some, get you a few primary source images here of the stock market. Is, unemployment so high. There were people lined up for food. These food banks, we saw something similar to this in San Antonio. We've seen in pictures really all over the U.S. of, right now so many people are out of work and just looking for, well, where am I going to get my next meal? So we'll talk about sort of the government's what the government did for this. Here's some newspaper headlines, and this is what happened. 1929, that huge drop, um, really shows the what happened to the stock market. All right, so this is the last thing that I wanted to talk about today was that half of all the banks failed. So it's hard to explain quickly, but here's what happens with a bank is that a lot of people give the bank their money to hold on to. And in return, the bank says, all right, I'll hold on to your dollar for you, and next year, I'll give you $1 and a penny back. Now that doesn't seem like much, but if you give them, whatever, $100,000, then a penny back for every dollar that you have, it starts to add up. And in some cases, it was more than that. It was a lot more than that. And so a bunch of people give their money to the bank. And then what the bank does to make money is the bank then loans that money out. All right. So for example, the bank has loaned me money to buy this house. Right. And so, let's say that if they loaned me $100,000 to buy this house, and I take 30 years, that's sort of the normal 15 or 30-year mortgage. If I take 30 years to pay them back, at the end of that 30 years, I'm not just going to pay them $100,000 back. I'm going to end up paying them around $200,000, right? And so that's how the bank makes money. So the bank, while yes, like you come and go, and you go to the ATM, you get some money, but for the most part, they've got a lot of money loaned out. So when people got real nervous about the banks, there was what's called a run on the banks. And so people started like literally running to the bank to get their money out because they were so worried about what was happening with the stock market and unemployment. Well, when everybody went and tried to get their money out, the bank had to say, well, we don't have all your money here, right? We don't actually just store your money here. It's loaned out to other people. If you've seen It's a Wonderful Life, great movie, highly recommend, during the winter holiday time. The bank's money is in, your neighbor Joe's house, and the bank's money is in, your friend's new car, and the bank's money, the bank, they've loaned out all that money, and that's how banks make money. So when people started asking for it, the banks, they couldn't give people their money, and so they failed. And so, a lot of people lost their money this way as well. Okay, so that's it for the stock market crash. This week, it's a bit of a downer, We're going to do the Great Depression, but we are going to look at the New Deal and sort of what came out of this on Thursday, and what type of programs that we still rely on today came out of this from the government. All right, so hope you enjoyed your Monday off. Hopefully you did something with that time. I know for me, I've just been mostly just sitting out in the garage. Trying to just change it up a bit. Going a little bit crazy in the house these days. But still, staying home, staying safe, trying to help other people stay safe. As always, if you got any questions, let me know. All right. Bye, guys.